Second series of the night means it's $100 in total, $80 for the winner, $20 for the loser, and obviously all the prize money is provided by Basilisk. So guys, give them some love! Exclamation mark Basilisk in the chat. I'm gonna let them know ready when you are. See, Cuckoo is in the channel too. How's it MMY going, Cuckoo? Have you recovered from the old man giving you some damage? Alright, Mark is ready. Ashbringer. Zal ik eens met oranje spelen? Goede sfeer? Mag hoor. Alles kan. Alright. Seems like Mark is in a good mood as well. I think ever since uThermal became a YouTuber and is obviously very successful on YouTube, really does feel that he's just in a great mood. As a competitor, I always go along with him incredibly well. Obviously, I was not really competing with him, but sometimes the competition got the best of him. Vanya is telling me that I have to check Discord. Oh. That scares me. Why is that? Let me take a look at that quickly, guys. What is wrong with my man Vanya? It seems that he has a different tournament, but I think hopefully it will work out. 1 second, guys. I'm just answering our player, and then we'll do the intros. All right. I think we found a solid solution, hopefully. Let's do it. Second best of 5 of the night. Big Brain Bouts number 36 already.
Let's get it on. Round 1. Fight.
In the top right side of Ancient, we are looking at the main base of our Dutch Terran player who's going command center first on the low ground. No fear for the Protoss, apparently. This is uThermal. Streamer, pro gamer, YouTuber, the man does it all. And in the bottom left side, probably the only Protoss on this planet who said he wants to play Clem in a match where there is money on the line. I thought that was a bit too much, but it did honestly give me some hope that his PvT must be very good. Not just good enough to beat the kids, but perhaps very good. It is our Teal Protoss Ashbringer, representing Starcom. As Mr. Ostra is asking me if I'm going to do an interview with the boys. Well done. Well done, jullie. Het awesome gedaan. I don't know what any of that means. I think if you're asking me if we're going to do a full Basilisk interview after WTL, we didn't really do that because it was the grand finals, and that was obviously a moment where I still had to show the stream because it was the final moments of WTL, and I thought I would give out some awards. And by the time that we maybe could have done it, some of the boys were already gone, so I am sure that we'll do something eventually, but not something that we have done or currently are working on. Also because Reynor is currently having a pretty well-deserved holiday, I would say. After going very hard for quite some time. Reynor is currently at a place without a PC, and he's just having a good time with friends, and I don't want to disturb him with any work-related stuff. Even if you could do it on his phone, let the boy just enjoy some well-deserved time off after Game is 8 and Homesteader Cup and WTL. Oh, he's definitely not medicating. At this point, I think Reynor is just being a little degen. I saw a couple videos, and let's just say I wouldn't show them in public. No, they weren't too bad. It was just a whole bunch of slurring. And a Reynor that I don't see very often, but let him have some fun and celebrate his big victory, right? Alright, so Ashbringer is going 1 gate fast expand with a Robo. Despite the fact that he scouted, this was CC first on the low ground. He's still gonna get a very early battery. If that's just part of the build, like, I don't really hate it. I'm not one of the commentators or players just like, oh, never build a battery unless you really need it. Because sometimes you just have that extra money with your build and you feel safe with it, whatever. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right, to get a shield battery against CC first. Very impressed by Solar. Yes, guys. Solar did great. I'm still very sad about it. I'm not gonna lie. I really wanted us to win the WTL contest. And it's kind of sad that we went undefeated for so freaking long, right? It wasn't that it was like bumping and bruising. We won 4 matches in Code A, won 11 in Code S, won the first one in the playoffs. And the absolute last match of the season, we had our first loss ever. And I spoke a little bit about it, but obviously in hindsight, like you could have said like we should have just revived Serral because Solar, sure, he beat Serral 5 games in a row, but if Solar can beat Serral 5 games in a row, Serral can absolutely beat Solar 5 games in a row as well. So maybe we should have revived Serral. But if he then would have lost, then people would have been like, oh, that's so stupid. He lost 5 games in a row. Why wouldn't you revive Reynor, who just won game as 8? Like, in hindsight, it's always easier. Overall, as a team, we just fell short. So it is what it is. There will be a next time. And we'll keep on fighting. That's not exactly what you want to do with your first observer, by the way, on the side of Ashbringer. Who's playing a super defensive style. I will never forget a series that uThermal played once upon a time against the Russian Protoss Strange, where Strange just played ultra defensive 2-base Colossus double forge. And I was like, man, this style actually looks kind of cool. Because as a Protoss, if you only need to worry about 2 bases instead of 3, your life is obviously a whole lot easier. And that's kind of what Ashbringer is doing over here. And I think uThermal is taking pretty good advantage of this, dropping a 3rd CC on location. And I think now he's just going to kind of try to delay or deny the 3rd base from Ashbringer. We'll take it from there. So far, it's a very standard game. uThermal should absolutely not stim into this natural. That is not something that's going to end well. I think he knows that. Maybe far away from the shield battery. uThermal's thinking about it. uThermal's going to go for it. Stims for it. Snipes a sentry. But a lot of Marines have already died. That one Immortal is going to die, though. And now it's still a few Marauders, guys. It's only 3 Marauders, but 3 Marauders could very well be good enough to at least kill 1 Colossus, run to the battery. It's a bit of a trade. uThermal's now over-chasing a tiny bit. Yeah, what do we think about that trade, guys? What do we think about that? Since 2 of the Robo units went down and sentries went down, I guess I don't hate it on the side of uThermal. But I wouldn't call it a slam dunk victory even. I think it's somewhat even. If somebody gets a minor advantage out of that, I would just say it's uThermal, just because he has a much quicker 3rd base. And it's obviously easier to rebuild Marines and Marauders than it is to rebuild a Colossus and an Immortal. So maybe tiny advantage for the Dutchman. Yeah, if Ashbringer had a much better economy, then we would look different at that. But no, I think it was quite okay. Especially now it's going to be so difficult to have units in the correct position. Does have 5 Stalkers. uThermal goes for an unload on the low ground. I don't think he's going to get a cancel on this. He's going to try. But the Colossus are here. Hello, Colossus? Ashbringer, what are we doing? Okay, now uThermal might get it. The Guardian Shield is actually super smart. The Guardian Shield is super smart, but uThermal will still get the cancel. Not going to be able to fly into the main base. Somehow keeps all the Medivacs alive. That was sloppy on the side of Ashbringer, guys. There's no other way to it. As we have a Widowmine drop as well, apparently, in the natural, killing 8 probes. uThermal's kind of bopping Ashbringer so far. The Guardian Shield was cute, because that does help, even if the Nexus isn't done. And it just reduces the damage by a decent amount, but the reaction was just a little bit too slow. Yeah, I absolutely believe that Guardian... You see the little animation, no? Trigger? When a world-class Protoss player is asking me a question like that, I start second-guessing myself. But I'm like 99% certain that Guardian Shield helps at buildings. You're funny, mate. uThermal with a Doom Drop. First full Medivac gets snipes down. The second one still with a lot of units inside of it as well. Oh, uThermal. uThermal tried to end it with a Doom Drop, but this was absolutely not it. And well, we were not certain where some of the trades favored who earlier. I think it's pretty safe to say that this was absolutely fucking amazing for Ashbringer. That's a little bit of a throw, my friends. A game where you think uThermal almost has it in the bag. He's gone full cuckoo over here, guys. He's like, let's do it again. Mad Mark. Oh no. Oh no, guys. What's the definition of insanity? What is... No, please not. No, that would really be a bit too much. It nearly was. And now I definitely don't hate it that much for Ashbringer anymore. Even though he's down 15 workers, he's about to get some really sick upgrades. And if there's one thing that I've learned from watching Ashbringer against my kids, and with the kids I'm talking about Cuckoo and Baby Marine, is that this man does not give a damn if he's down in workers. uThermal's pulling a lot of units out of position. Now he's going to try to maybe get this drop going in the natural, but is forced to unload at the 9 o'clock base instead, and is just going to deny the Nexus for now. Like, if this was any other Protoss, I'd be like, man, this looks terrible for the Protoss, but this is really where Ashbringer shines. He does his best work when he's down on the workers and up in upgrades. That's a really good denial too of those two medevacs. Mark is struggling at this point, guys. Ashbringer is honestly starting to turn this into the kind of game that he just always wins. No, I'm the uncle, Mr. Hassel for me. They used to call me dad, and I was like, guys, please don't do that. It's really weird. People are going to have the wrong idea. And they're like, all right, how does Uncle Ruddy work? And I was like, sure. If that makes you happy, Uncle Ruddy it is. Ashbringer is moving out, and that's a terrifying army, guys. And if uThermal doesn't have a bunch of Vikings, which he simply doesn't, I mean, he's expanding like a mad lad, but I don't know how you clean up this army. Don't do that, RX. Maybe a bit of a base trade. We are going to have a couple of Widow Mines. There are some observers in the mix. A good Widow Mine shot on the sentries. Okay, if the observer goes down... Oh, this is crazy. This game is absolutely delivering. I still don't really know where this is going to go. This feels like a terrifying army. The first Vikings are out. Missile turrets even getting a couple shots up. Will those Widow Mines fire? Yes, they do. Mark is fighting at the third. Destroying the natural. But can he ever clean up this army? We have a couple ghosts in the mix as well. That could be big. Hallucinated Colossus doing its thing, but that's a real Colossus. Ashbringer is not handling this very well. I actually think this is absolutely favoring the Terran so far. Look at these Marauders on the low ground, ripping their way through the majority of these Stalkers. And this is something that uThermal, with his insane economy, can do all day, every day. And Ashbringer simply cannot. It's the counter throw. Welcome, guys, to Dodgers Stadium, where we are now entering the bottom of the 8th inning. And we're trying to figure out who can throw this game harder. We've got two very experienced pitchers. And I think that Ashbringer is kind of dead. Because he is not going to win this fight anymore. I don't know if he has a force field. He doesn't. One more Colossus falls. That final Colossus is going to fall. And he cannot rebuild the army anymore. He's going to pick up the Colossus, but it doesn't really matter. Final Marines Marauders show up. And Ashbringer loses every single unit. Thought he could... Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. That happened, guys. That was cute. We're still battling with our final few Zealots and a couple sentries, but obviously the writing is on the wall. uThermal, with all the bases, found a way to clean up that terrifying Protoss army. I think Ashbringer will be kicking himself a little bit for that. I think uThermal had a better start, had a better strategy. But obviously after losing those 5 medevacs for 1 or 2 Stalkers, I thought it was going to get pretty hard. But played it out very well afterwards. You missed the funny. There was a Nexus on 1 HP. And right when it was dying, they activated battery overcharge. It was just kind of cute. Mark is talking to me about the stats. I think of units lost or something. I don't know what he said. He said 6,200 against 2,900. Yeah, uThermal was in excellent spirits, and it makes me happy. Obviously, very nice of him to agree to play. I asked him many times, up to the point where I thought maybe I should stop asking him, because I don't know if he's ever going to be down. But he never really told me, like, no, don't ask me. I don't want to play. He always just said, like, not this Friday. No, I'm not really feeling it. But he never told me, like, I never want to play. So I kind of kept on trying. And then this Friday, suddenly it worked out. He said, sure, I'll play. It made me very happy.
Round 2, fight!
In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the man who obviously had a slow reaction into that cancel of the third base, but then found his way back into the game by sniping all 5 medevacs Unfortunately, was not able to capitalize on it. Down 0-1. It's our teal Protoss Ashbringer. And an SCV is heading out, guys. In the top right side, we are looking in the main base of the Oranje Terran player. It is uThermal. Once upon a time, a core member of Team Liquid for a very long time. I think he represented Team Liquid for like 2 or even 3 years straight. These days, he is teamless. I think he's happy with the way that everything is going for him. Haven't watched SC in ages. Then Roddy pops in Twitch recommendations. Thank you, Twitch. That makes me happy, mate. And thank you for clicking on me. Because that probably means that if they suggest me to more people and they also click on me, we can go viral. I appreciate it, mate. I hope you have some fun tonight. So we have a proxy barracks. uThermal is capable of literally everything in this matchup. Including a ghost rush, including a planetary fortress rush. I don't know if it's going to be that weird or crazy. But we will see. Barracks is done. It's just going to be single Reaper for now. Ashbringer did scout that it's only a single refinery. You basically always want to keep the probe on this side of the map. Because you want to see if the factory goes down at home. You want to see when the second assimilator or refinery gets taken. uThermal being very annoying here. Not just proxy Reaper, but also an eBay block. Ashbringer has a Zealot. Would love to kill the SCV. Is not going to get the SCV. Command Center actually going down at home. Obviously good scout here by Ashbringer. Now he knows that the only thing he really needs to worry about is a couple of Reapers being annoying. Reaper should be annoying enough to get a kill on that probe. And that's exactly what uThermal is going to do. Stalker, by the way. Zealot Stalker. I like this as a start. He's going to lose that probe too, I think. But then maybe the Reaper will die to the Stalker. No, it's not going to die. I mean, that's a good start for the Dutchman, guys. uThermal gets... Oh my, oh my. I didn't even see this. The 5 HP SCV turned around and built another eBay. Okay, Mark is vibing. He's following this up with a couple barracks as well. Reaper now goes into the main base. It's double Reaper, and that means it can at least kill one probe, but there is a very good chance we're going to get multiple. It's 2 so far. You're not going to fight. You're not going to kill the Stalker, but uThermal just wants to get as many probes as possible. This is an insanely good start, guys, for the Dutchman. And he's actually... No way. If this Reaper gets out, I'm calling Dana White. Come on. No way.
That's fucking illegal.
Can you believe it? 5 probes have died. And a super low HP Reaper that's deep inside of the main base of the Protoss actually finds a way out of it. Ashbringer is in serious trouble here, and I think he knows that. That's why he's now the one throwing up a pylon in the natural. And a battery, okay. Alright. We are gaming. This would be very good against, like, a factory follow-up with a Hellion or something. I don't know if it's all that good against the 3-Rex follow-up. It's an interesting placement, by the way, in this battery. I didn't even know that that was a thing. Ashbringer's gonna have to warp in 1 unit, because the battery will eventually get drained. I think uThermal doesn't quite know yet about this little city that's going up in the natural. We are video gaming over here, guys. This is an opening unlike any opening I've seen before. Yeah, what do you do? I mean, the fact that it's concussive shell first, it should actually really help Ashbringer out here a little. That's not too scary if you got 2 batteries. uThermal has now found out about this little city. It's a blink opening of 1 gate into another robo. I say another because obviously we opened up robo in that previous game. uThermal is going to work on these probes. Eventually the battery does run out of juice, but Ashbringer is keeping these stalkers at home. So that entire investment on the other side of the map is just to buy time. Can he finally kill a Reaper? Yes. Alright. It's something. uThermal thinks that obviously if you keep that many stalkers at home, I can probably just go ahead and fight this with triple Marauder. We need to recall, but it's too late already. He's gonna lose both stalkers. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, obviously shield batteries are good, mate, but if the Marauder count is this damn high, there's not a whole lot that stalkers, even near a shield battery, are going to do. He did cause a nice delay on this orbital landing, and uThermal actually being able to mine from 2 bases, but don't know if it was worth 2 stalkers, a pylon, and 2 batteries. I think that's a little too much. And it's just... Our man has very little production at the moment. At least gateway number 2 and 3 are about to finish up. What is this? A 4 HeroMarine drop. So well built by uThermal. Proxy Reaper into eBay block, into another eBay block, into CC, into 3 racks, into concussive shells first, into a HeroMarine, a medevac drop with 4 HeroMarines inside of it. I'm not familiar with this order of things on the side of Terran. I definitely think it has a lot of potential. Ashbringer has 1 spotting stalker on the edge of his main base. Oh man, I think he's gonna lose so many probes here, guys. Especially if uThermal reveals this army. This is smart already with the Reaper. Throws down the scan as well. This is all smart because this Widowmine drop, guys, is going to peak. This army won't do well. The Widowmine drop, though, I say that's minus 11 workers at the bare minimum. It's way more. It's 17. It's so smart of uThermal to show the Reaper and then throw down the scan and stim for it. Because at that point, as a Protoss, you're always looking at the natural. And by the time you realize, like, wait a minute, this is too easy, that's when you look at the main. That's when the panic split happens. And that's when you lose 17 probes. Things are starting to look pretty rough for our man Ashbringer over here, guys. uThermal's having a fun time so far. He's doing a little bit of everything. Kind of like we see him do on his stream. And he's playing some high-level StarCraft. I think no split would have been about the same. Maybe like 14, 15. Yeah, the split made it worse. Now, every Protoss player is familiar with that. Sometimes we try to micro and it actually goes worse. I have this with carriers a lot. I try to control carriers and my interceptors don't get out. I just A-move and my carriers do great. Double drop into the main base. There is shield battery overcharge available. There is a Widowmine drop, I believe, in the natural. Are we paying attention? Yes. Okay, what is this? Okay, that's kind of a little bit of a throw. It's now 6 Widowmines and a medevac will go down. The shield battery overcharge lasted for the entire thing. Stalkers blink forward. Obviously, uThermal still in an amazing position, but this went well for Ashbringer. About as well as anything could go after the start that the man had. He's got a cannon and a battery in both bases. Now, this is not great for your mining, by the way, guys. This is not exactly how Ultimate Protoss SimCity looks like. Ashbringer is pretty dead. Down 20 workers. He's not exactly known for his ability to build a lot of workers. I think he's gonna go for a 1-2 base attack with 2 Colossus and Immortal, a bunch of force fields. And obviously uThermal is just... well, he can actually do whatever. He can base trade. Can try to take the fight head on. Is there a world where uThermal doesn't win? I guess if we take a really bad fight in a really bad choke point against force field after force field after force field. That's the only way this could ever go wrong for uThermal. Or you lose a bunch of medevacs with units inside of it. This poor Zealot. What is the rule of this Zealot exactly, guys? There's 4 medevacs full of units ready to unload into the main base. uThermal throws down the scan. He knows that the main base is empty. Few more Zealots get warped in, but obviously not... oh my goodness, these Widowmines. Are we gonna burrow them? Not yet. uThermal goes for the cannon. It's about this army, guys. Obviously, uThermal's gonna completely destroy everything that Ashbringer has in his main. That is not important. Do we have an observer? There's one observer, but where is it? Seems like it's nearby, okay. You immediately get on top of Terran production. Obviously, well, blinks into the Widowmines, guys. Doesn't have too many units. He's gonna lose a few more. Main base is dead. Natural is dead. Slow Zealots are gonna do their thing. We're now going ultra deep. Widowmines firing on top of the sentries as well. So every single sentry dies too. The Colossus will kill a bunch of SCVs, but that's obviously not going to change the outcome of this game. 38 SCVs died, but even if all 70 SCVs die, there is no answer for the Marauders, no answer for the Vikings. And uThermal takes a pretty convincing 2-0 lead. The back of a very strange opening, but it just worked. Like, he just kind of outplayed Ashbringer with the Reapers. We gotta give kudos there. Mark showed us, once upon a time, He was known as the ultimate Reaper player in the European scene. We had Kelazur, we had uThermal, and the other Dutch Terran called Optimus. Those three really stood out when it came to European Reaper play. And Mark showed us that he still possesses those skills. Killing 5 probes, not losing a single Reaper is way too much. And Ashbringer is good, guys. But uThermal is showing us that he's better. At least so far. And I don't think it's going to turn around anytime soon. I hope for Ashbringer that he can just get a decent start. Because the first 2 games, obviously it kind of feels that we're already fighting an uphill battle. And playing it very safe against someone that's just not on your level is okay. Or playing it very safe against someone that maybe needs something weird to beat you. That's all acceptable. But I think uThermal is very confident in pretty much everything that is related to StarCraft 2. And you can't really play that overly safe if you're Ashbringer and put yourself behind without anything really happening. Let's see what Game 3 has in store for us.
Round 3. Fight!
In the top left side of Greswan, we are looking at the main base of the man that's representing Starcom. He's down 0-2. There is $80 on the line for the winner of this series. The loser will still get 20 though, so it's not for nothing. But obviously he wants to win, as he wants to play, just like Night Phoenix, in every single Big Brain Bouts. It's Ashbringer. This man even guilt-tripped me a little. He said, Rotti, but your kids are playing every week. I was like, that's not true. He's like, look at how many times they played. And he hit me with statistics. I was like, yes. I know, they've played a decent amount. They're just always available. This man has never played in the Big Brain Bouts, making his first appearance ever. And I think he's enjoying himself so far. Give it up for the Dutchman, Steamless. He's a one-man army, but that's a powerful army. uThermal. A lot of people just know uThermal right now as a fun streamer, or some people are like, oh, he just beats up on bad players. But there was a time that uThermal was legitimately the second best player in Europe. Where Serral was the best, there honestly was a very serious period, like 12 to 18 months, that I would say, that uThermal really was the second best player in Europe. The man was an absolute animal. And when nobody could make Serral sweat, uThermal was the one who still got a victory sometimes and was able to get a couple maps. Obviously, that didn't last forever. Eventually, Serral just became too good. But uThermal really was a beast in the European scene for quite some time. And obviously won an Intel Extreme Masters in Shanghai, 2016. It was the year of the Dutch. Hearthstone won a tournament in Shanghai, and uThermal won a tournament. Either in Shenzhen or Shanghai, one of the two. Yeah, pretty much same period as Drogo. 2016, I believe, was that year. Also the year that Hearthstone won Home Story Cup. The Dutch were just taking over, man. That was our year. We haven't peaked quite like that ever since. You thought he was German? Shame on you. Shame on you. Hello, Coco. He hit me with the pie graph. He was prepared, Coco. That man studied. He knew that I was going to say no to his next request, and he came prepared. Another early battery for our man Ashbringer. He is switching it up a little bit, as he's gone for the Sentry first this time around. That is obviously going to give him a good scout. That is the earliest Forge that I am familiar with in this matchup. What the hell is this opening? Have you guys ever been down 2-0 in a best of 5 against Terran and you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open Sentry, Stalker, Battery, Forge. He is going to get some gnarly upgrades, but... not very good in dealing with a multi-prong harassment in the early game. You're going to have a very weak army and a very immobile army. The only good thing about this build is that you know what is coming. You're going to get excellent scouting info. Ideally, you keep that Phoenix alive a little bit longer, but obviously that's not the worst case scenario. I am not in love with the start, but it's okay. What Ashbringer has done... Oh, okay. +1 Zealots? Okay. What is this, a Coco build? I see a cannon in the middle line, an early forge, a charge. +1 and Zealots. Can I get another cannon? What is Ashbringer cooking over here, guys? Yeah, Fort Yumi has been quite fun. The funny thing is, by the way, that a single cannon in your mineral line is actually not good against Widow Mine drops. Obviously, it's nice to have something killing Widow Mines, but this also means that the probes are forced to go around the cannon, which means they clump up more. So a single Widow Mine shot can actually kill 8 probes quite easily. I am very familiar with this. I really hope that Ashbringer does not believe that one cannon is going to kill 3 Widow Mines, because it simply isn't. At least the probe pool is good. No! Okay. Alright, that's good. What's happening in the natural? Okay, the shield battery died. But at least he's still losing a lot of probes, guys. If you open up with 1 battery and 2 cannons, you are not supposed to lose 12 probes. Ashbringer told me that he wanted to play Clem. Well, I don't think Clem would really have sleep problems over these openings. Maybe it's just a bit of a disastrous series. Obviously, people can get nervous when there is money on the line, or especially when they believe they can win. If you're a massive underdog, you can often just kind of play chill and you're like, alright, I'm just going to do my best, and then you can overperform. Maybe Ashbringer really thought that he could put on one hell of a show here and beat a big name that is uThermal, but so far this is not it. And that is an understatement. Now uThermal is going to mech. At least that's nice for us. That means that the game is going to get dragged on for a little while. Ashbringer is very good though, guys. And I gotta say, out of all the best of 5s that I've casted of him over the last few months, this is one of the weakest performances. And of course, uThermal is good, and it often goes 2 ways, right? Somebody is playing bad because the other guy is playing good. But it also just feels that he's a little bit slow, and he's making a couple of questionable decisions. We have Hyperflight Rotors on the way. These 2 Banshees are going to have an absolute field day. At this point, the anti-air is 2 Stalkers and 2 Sentries. Like I said, yeah, it can be both. Like, Ashbringer should never lose 10 plus probes when he has 2 cannons and a shield battery against a couple of Widow Mines and what was it? A few Marines without stim. I think that's just a bit too much. uThermal clearly is playing very well. Ashbringer knows that he needs to make some magic happen, and them Zealots with +1 and charge are starting to find some damage. That doesn't mean that the Banshees are not eventually going to clean this up or deal even more damage on the other side of the map. But with the Observer and the Sentries and the Stalkers, maybe Ashbringer is allowed to dream. Activates Guardian Shield very early. Like, this is obviously all a lot more solid, but the man needs so much more. Maybe Archon Zealot all in can get the job done. At this point, uThermal does not have a great answer against a War Prism. There's actually nothing really that shoots up other than a couple of Marines that are inside of a bunker. So maybe if Ashbringer is able to get like 2 Archons and a bunch of Zealots into the main, things can spiral out of control. But as I said, I think it often goes 2 ways. One guy is playing well, and because that guy is playing well, it looks like the other guy is playing worse. But there is this thing that we like to call unforced errors, just like in tennis. And Ashbringer clearly has made a few unforced errors. And that's not because uThermal is playing great. It's just because he's been a tiny bit off. But he still has a chance in this game. Because mech is not exactly the world-class strategy in closing out games early. And the last 90 seconds, just when we thought it was pretty much over, have actually been excellent for Ashbringer. Took no damage from the Banshees. Dealt a decent amount of damage on the other side of the map. Our Protoss player is allowed to dream. I still don't love his position. I know some people will be like, oh, actually, I kind of like it because mech sucks. I am one of the very few Protoss players on this planet that think mech is very good against Protoss. We have a couple of Blue Flame Hellions. Oh, one-shotting Zealots as well. You cannot just warp in a couple Zealots and think you're fine. He's about to lose a ridiculous amount of probes once more. And this is kind of what I mentioned. If you would have just warped in like 2 Stalkers, that would have gone so much better. Even if you don't have Blink. 16 probes going down to those Hellions. A few Zealots dying as well. We're going to try to fly in the War Prism one more time. It's kind of working. Is there any anti-air yet? Nope. What there is a bunch of Hellions with Blue Flame. Ashbringer is going to try to all in by the looks of it. He's attacking with Archon. Oh, this is a planetary! uThermal is making NTT proud. And right now there's about 2 Starker 2 fans on the planet who know what I'm talking about. He's gone full entity. Do we have an observer? Can the Archons kill the Banshees? We have an observer, but the Planetary Fortress is the saving grace of uThermal here. Oh my goodness, Repair is one hell of a drug. I can't believe it, guys. The most clutch PF at the third since NTT was waving the flag for the Dutchies out there. And now it's officially game over. That really could have been scary. If that was an orbital, this Protoss army could have caused some serious trouble. That's insane. What a clutch PF. Clutch Repair. No. Go, drop your Archons! Drop. Oh wait, it's Immortals. Already lost the Archons. We do have 2 more Archons, but they're gonna get, the Banshees are gonna get cloaked once more. There's still an Observer, but without a shield battery, there's just nothing really you can do. The Hellbats are gonna have a field day with them probes. 12 extra probes die. 41 have died in a 10-minute game. And uThermal, with a little bit of everything, has just played a very good best of 5. And for Ashbringer, well, I think this was a very valuable lesson. He's got good builds against Terran players from his level. But once you go up against experienced players, veterans, you just kind of know how to pick things apart. Well, you need to be a bit more versatile perhaps, and switching up a little bit more. Probably not the best of 5 that Ashbringer was hoping for. Not the series that a lot of us were hoping for, but it was damn fun to see uThermal do his thing. And it's back-to-back 3-0s in the Big Brain Bouts that I was ultra stoked over. I really thought it was going to be as close as it's ever been before. We have back-to-back 3-0s. uThermal showing us that he still got it. It was very fun to have him. And hey, hopefully guys, after this very pleasant experience, at least for uThermal, as he just won $80 in like 35 minutes, maybe he's down to have another appearance on the Friday night. And I think that would make all of us happy. Maybe, guys, we can dream of that Hearthstone uThermal best of 5. Main event, obviously. Someone will still complain on Reddit that he only smurfs. Yeah, apparently we live in a world where Ashbringer does better against Clem than he does against uThermal. And in a weird way, that actually makes sense. But that's obviously in a weird way. Now, our next boys are in a rush, but we still obviously need to wait. Because Vanya is playing multiple tournaments. I'm going to go ahead and settle this prediction. Give you guys 10 minutes for the next prediction. GG's Mark. The man is in the chat, guys. Was leuk. Ook al was hij iets te goed vanavond, maar het was nog steeds leuk. GG's. 70% of you guys believe that uThermal was going to get it done. 30% of you guys believed in Ashbringer. But a Dutch veteran does get it done. Next prediction. It is our co-main event of the evening. It's SKillous versus Wayne, Vanya, Reddita. Best of 5, 125 buckies. SKillous to win BO5. Wayne to win BO5. I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. But before you guys start voting, I want to show you guys something. Because these two, obviously from the same country, have a lot of history with one another. But their history is actually very cool. It is a lot closer than I think a lot of you guys would expect it to be between these two. And then we have to also keep in mind that the Friday night in general on this channel, it belongs to Wayne. He plays better in the Big Brain Bouts than he plays in pretty much every other tournament. So I think this is going to be fun. Let me just show you guys the search results quickly. Wayne, Reddita, Vanya versus SKillous. We're getting 10 more subbies from Basilisk, who not only allow me to run this event, they also give me extra love, even though they already give me so much love. I'm a lucky man. Historically, guys, SKillous versus Wayne. They have played 211 maps against one another. 106 in favor of SKillous, 105 to Wayne. That's about as close as it could ever be. A small lead in series for our Protoss player, 38 to 35 after 73 series, but clearly very competitive, very close. And they were the ones who reached out to me and they said like, hey, look at our history. I think this is a good match for the Big Brain Bouts. And I said, well, I love you guys both. So I agree. It is a good match for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and take a little break. Everyone can grab a snack, a drink. And after that, we'll be back with a high level, very competitive PvZ. Is it going to be another 3-0, guys? Is it just one of those nights? If it is a 3-0, I hope it's a good one, though. I think we're still having fun so far. I'm happy to be doing the BBB again. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes for SKillous versus Wayne.